So if you are looking for a book on time and perspective, I have the book for you guys. Now, my name is Marcus. This is Discover Ignite, where we discover possibilities and ignite change. And today I'm actually doing a book review for you guys on a book called Einstein's Dreams by Alan Lightman. So hold on, stick tight, and let's get this book review started. Now, I must say I am a huge fan of Albert Einstein. I've always loved his workings, but this particular book, right, it is a fictional book, but it has got some great concepts about time, right, the theory of relativity. And in this particular book, you know, it goes into when Albert Einstein was a patent clerk and essentially his thoughts, right, through this whole time period and dreams, right, and really gives you some really unique perspective on time, so much so that you really wonder, like, right, like, what exactly kind of time am I really in, right? And it essentially takes all these different, you know, scenarios in which, you know, time can be viewed as, right, different perspectives, and it's really intriguing. They have particular ones in there, particular concepts in which, you know, people don't want to grow old. So essentially, you know, the higher you are essentially in society and in physical geographic state, the older you can become, right? And so people move to the mountains and stuff like that just to be older, right, to live longer. And so it goes over a bunch of these different theories, these different concepts, right? And one in which, you know, when some people that fall in love, right, when they kiss, is that moment only a matter of seconds, or is that, you know, an eternity of kissing, right? And it's just some really interesting concepts that will really get your mind thinking about time, right? The theory of relativity. And I think this is really interesting in the fact that, you know, we can't really measure time, right? And it actually goes over in the book. It talks about that briefly as well, about, you know, that time was never really measured, right? And then they started implementing changes to document time, and people didn't like that, right? People didn't understand that, you know, why do I gotta define my life by time, right? That's only like essentially ticking down the minutes that I have. And so again, this book goes into some really intriguing different things about time and concepts. And although it is, you know, fictional, it is, again, it still gets you thinking, right? It's one of those books that if you're into philosophy and science, that it really makes you think about it, right? And what time truly is, right? Time, I believe for myself, time is just one of those things that it obviously helps us track, you know, what is going on in our daily lives, but it's one of those concepts that is just an illusion, right? It's not real. Like, we are living our lives, but this is the only way we can measure that, essentially. And so it's all the theory, right? The theory of time is one of those kind of things that you really, if you really dive deep into it and you really start thinking about it, you're kind of just blown away, right, about what the possibilities could be, right? Because what's to say that any of them are wrong or any of them are right, right? And this book really dives into that. Again, even though it's fictional, it brings some amazing concepts that I personally have never thought about, right? And especially like the kissing thing I was talking about, like, in that particular moment, there's certain moments in your life that seem like they last forever, right? And it could be good or bad. And when in fact, you know, that particular moment might only be, you know, seconds or minutes, but it may seem like an eternity. And how time essentially freezes right in that particular moment. And I've had many of those times in my life, right, good and bad. And so it talks about different concepts like that and just time in itself. And it's an amazing book. It's a book that I think a lot of people, you know, even though you may not be into science or the theory of relativity or anything like that, I think it can really just make you change your perspective on everything, right? Just in time and how much perspective, you know, if you really put any thought or anything into something specific, there are many different perspectives, right? There are many different concepts in which you can view that particular, you know, whatever it is, whether it's a concept, an idea, whatever, and understand that there are many different viewpoints. And time is just one of those things, again, that can really make you think. And this is why a lot of different times I have even mentioned, in some of my videos about, seeing every day, like, what if I died today, right? Like, what essentially would happen, right? What would I do differently, and then live that particular way, right? And this book has that concept in it, right? That's one of the concepts it talks about, and one of the time frames it talks about. And what would you exactly do, and how, this one particular village did that exactly, right? They thought on this particular day everything was going to be wiped out, wiped clean, and everybody lived without worry, right? Everybody did exactly what they wanted to do because they knew their time was up. And just imagine what you would do in your life if you knew on this day was your last day, right? How differently would you actually live your life, right? And so it really makes you think. And I think those books, they don't have to be, a nonfiction book, right? Or just throwing out facts. I mean, these kind of books really make you think. This is why I like these kind of books, because they make you think about things differently, right? They change your perspective on a lot of different things. And I think that helps, in your everyday life, right? Changing perspective. And a lot of times you get so tunnel visioned about specific things that it's hard to try to change perspective. As far as like any cons to this book, I would say there is absolutely no cons to this book. I absolutely love this book. This book was actually really short, but it was good, right? It had a lot of interesting, again, concepts that really pulled you in and really made you think, right? I don't think there was a concept in the book that didn't make me think, wow, from that angle, it makes a lot of sense. But from that angle, it also makes a lot of sense. So it's one of those kind of books that, you're just constantly churning, like, what is the next kind of concept about time is talking about? And so, again, if you guys are interested in this book, I will actually leave it down in the description. And if you did enjoy this video, remember to hit that like button on the way out. Until next time, I will see you guys later.